So today I'm delighted at Accenture Labs to be actually talking to the head of Accenture Labs, the senior managing director of Accenture Labs, Marc Carrel Billiard. Lovely to see you.
And nice to see you, Claire.
We're so enjoying working with you and your team over this last year, and I'm looking forward to diving in on a few things.
Sure.
So, Marc, one of the questions you and I were just talking about backstage was about the circular economies. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, when I spend most of my time basically in planes, traveling and meeting clients, and obviously our people, all around the world. And what we see is like there's a mindset shift about economy itself. How we can drive more value in the hands of people that really need these values. So it's all about purposeful business, about thinking about, okay, how we change this world for a better world. We want the people to have the opportunity basically to drive value and deliver this value to other people in need of this value. And I think this is something that we're going to see more and more. Whether we talk about energy and how the energy is going to be distributed, whether we talk about like technology like blockchain and how we distribute things around, this is something that we're going to see more and more.
And are you, with the mindset, set shift, are you seeing the thoughtfulness be through collaborative efforts with Accenture, or are you seeing it, how are you seeing this? Is it through conversations you're having with them or actual clients that you're working with?
So I think it's everything. It's just like, this is also a mindset that is happening within the organization. Accenture has been always pretty visionary about these new business models, what we have. You know that as part of our innovation architecture, we work very closely with Accenture Research, and they're doing like business studies about where the world is going. They work with very prominent organizations like World Economic Forums and everything, and we work very closely with them to think about all these new business models. And this is something that obviously, we've been pushing, we've been discussing with our clients. And so I think extending basically the vision of a company just like for, okay, this is the product or the service that deliver. But there's much more important, because people will never use glasses, if they're in need of food or if they're in need of shelter.
Of course.
And it makes sense. And I need to address all these things together. Our labs have been developing a big program called Tech for Good, which I think is a great program.
Yeah, I love this
Okay.
program, yes.
So it's how we're going to leverage technology, to change the world, to address like the real big problems that we see in this world. And we've been working with an NGO that's called Ashkaya Patra. And Ashkaya Patra thinking is how you are educating kids while feeding them at the same time. Because the idea is that if you want to feed the brain, first thing you need to feed first is the stomach, because without basically a full stomach, then the brains cannot operate. I think it's a great story there. And why it's a great story? Because I think people are just like going back to, okay, what matters? What is important? To the world, in fact, and how we're going to develop basically this new economy that we want. Because it's all good to talk about digital transformation and everything, but digital transformation should not apply for just a very small part of the world. There's so many countries basically in need of digital transformation, and we need to understand how we're going to support them.
And being, you're from France, I'm from Zimbabwe, and
Yep.
we're both in your beautiful city, San Francisco, which was the first city I landed in when I came to the States. And one thing I love about San Francisco is the diversity of San Francisco. But I must say I remain biased about my Zimbabwean roots, where I find the creativity and resourcefulness is phenomenal. So these emerging countries, also, we might bring them digital transformation, but they bring us creative transformation.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's no wonder that the Tech for Good program has started off from India. Mm-hmm. So we have an amazing lab in India where we have amazingly creative people that are always thinking about what can they do to help their friends. First of all, I can't oblige my researcher to work on something they're not interested in.
Yes,
so they need to be excited about this.
Yes.
And I think that excites a lot of people. The second thing is that, obviously if you do something good like that, you sleep better at night. I think also our organization will think about how they attract new talents and everything. And I think talents need to be, talent have the choice, to select the organization they want to work with. Mm-hmm. And what we'll see is that I have millenniums, kids, and they are very much into changing the world. And,
yes.
and this is exactly what we need to find in terms of project, I mean, to appeal them and to work for you. I mean, eventually, obviously, Accenture is not a philanthropic organization, and a lot of work that we're doing for Tech for Good will apply to real projects that we can monetize at clients. But I don't think that because you do this, you cannot do the other things, and you can collaborate and combine the two things together.
Where we connected was through around magic and the power of storytelling,
Yeah.
right? And you tell me a little bit more about your interest in magic and the science around magic.
Well, first of all, I've been always doing magic tricks when I was really young. And I remember I've been 20 years with, more than 20 years with the firm. Even with my client, I was doing some magic tricks. I mean, just like as an icebreaker and everything, because I think it's pretty cool. Magic has been always around technology. I mean, just like, because technology wow people. And I think this is what is important. I mean, I think at the end, I mean, just like you want to create an emotion. Creating an emotion is a lot. I mean, this is where we want to go. I mean, if you look at what we're trying to do today and the service and the product that people are trying to sell, the ones that are much more successful are the ones that have a sleek design, they're beautiful and everything, they create an emotion. You can bond to them and everything. Look at Apple, look at those companies and everything. I always believe that magic was good. And if you look at the big magicians or very famous magicians, they've been all engineers.
Yes.
Some were working on clocks, you know, Houdini and everything, and some were working on some other stuff. But they're always very innovative people. They have a lot of, obviously they're STEM people because they know a lot of things about science and physics
Curious
and stuff like
people.
that. Very curious people.
Yes.
And they're always visionary about thinking, okay, what's going to be the next trick? I mean, how I'm going to be pushing the boundaries of technology to do some amazing results. You know, in the past, it was sometimes more difficult to have access to technology. You remember the time of the big mainframes and everything.
Yes,
It was like, there was like few people that had access. I mean, they had to wear white blouses and stuff like that. I mean, now people have access to technology. You know, the lab is very excited about the work we're doing on quantum computing. I've never thought that like 2 years ago, we could access a quantum computer that is in North Canada, and then basically from the lab here in San Jose through VPN connection, we can send algorithm, we get information back and everything. All this stuff, you know, this is something we can do today. It's phenomenal. I mean, look at artificial intelligence.
Yes.
One of the reasons why artificial intelligence is so popular today, because obviously we have the data, we have the network, but we have algorithms that are all available in open source. So people that can go into open source, they get basically the algorithm, they try it out on their computer and everything, and then voila, they start to do something like magic. And so the fact that today this technology is at the end of the people, and people are full of ideas, and they connect with each other through social media and everything, I think we're going to be able to see like amazing stuff happening. And this is what is
I agree with you, and I think that, you know, one of the things you said about magic is learning the tricks, right? So what I'm liking, what BoxMedia, what we're doing with you, is we're laying out this really like a roadmap, if you will, to invite people in to really start to understand how they can enhance and think thoughtfully about shaping a preferred future.
Exactly.
Because if we don't upskill and teach ourselves and teach other people all this knowledge, I think it's going to be an issue, and that's. What do you think of that?
Accenture business is all about people. I mean, it's like at the end, it seems that my discussion and my speech is technology centric, but it's not. At the end, it's all about people. I mean, what I say is like technology is here just as an enabler to drive the emotion, to drive better education, to drive all these things. Without this, I mean, we cannot be successful. So at the end, I mean, it's how technology applies to enhance the life of people.
Yes.
And it can be on different things. I mean, I think one of probably the best skills or talent that we can develop within Accenture is the talent of learning fast. And also, you know, learning from what you learned from the past and jumping things back and forth and everything. You know, it's something also that it's a lot of discussion that I have also with our people. I have a technology background, obviously, and you see the technology is moving, and you always try to catch up with technology. But the thing is that it's not enough to read. I mean, you can read and stuff like that. When you need to learn from your experience. And so when people talk to me about, you know, virtual machines and everything, it can relate to what it was like 20 years ago. And so that's how it works. I think that people need to learn from their experience. Obviously, I mean, they need to learn new things, but we find that it's additive learning more than completely radical things. And I think that's what people need to do as well.
Just in the interviews today, what I love so much is the diversity of the teams and is the passion that people have. And just like you, they talk about the humanity first, but they also walk the talk. And what I like is, how are you with Accenture Labs? How are you learning from your stakeholders?
Lab has 3 clients, if you think about it. So you could see that as stakeholders, but like first clients is obviously the clients that we have every day. So our, like clients that we serve all over the world and across all the different industries. So those are prime clients, obviously. But I would say like the second clients that we have is Accenture. I mean, Accenture is a big client. Why? Because if all the research that we're delivering within the lab cannot have an impact on how Accenture drives his business, then I think we're missing the point. And I think it's always better to showcase into your own organization what you want to sell to your clients. Because otherwise, I mean, if it's not successful for yourself, I mean, how clients will really believe that it's going to be applying to them. Okay, so that's the second type of client. And third client I was mentioning through Tech for Good is the world that we try to change through Pronobo Project and everything. So our stakeholders, obviously today, they don't want innovation only. They want the big things that they want. They want innovation at scale. And I think what's important that people tend to forget is that Accenture has been scaling from the beginning.
Yes.
I mean, before we called New Applied Now, we had high performance delivered. Accenture is a machine, an organization that can deliver like very big solution at scale, okay? And we've never lost this. This is part of our DNA, okay? There's one thing also that has been always in our DNA is that the curiosity of people and the fact that we've been always doing applied research for 30 years. In fact, the lab is more than 30 years old. We didn't communicate so much about it, but we've been always doing innovation. Now, if you combine innovation with the capacity or the capability to scale, then you come up with innovation at scale. And I think that's the most important stuff, because innovation that stays in some ivory tower in a very small lab, I think it's missing the point.
Yes.
And I think the second thing, which is very important for me and for my labbers and the people that are working, I think the better things that you can do for your people is to expose them through the work they're doing. There's nothing better for a labber to show that the work he's been doing has a ripple effect on the world or on clients. And if you don't do that at scale, then you're missing the point again.
So with us, again, with Accenture Labs and with you, what are you most excited about for the future?
I think what excites me, I mean, we talk about the people and the curiosity and the new type of people. I think for the new generations, I mean, there's no boundaries. I mean, people are just like excited about reinventing the world and also challenging the status quo. So for them, I mean, there's just like, it's not because it's been done like for 20 years like that it should be done again. And then we need to reopen the discussion. And I love this kind of mindset of people that are really innovative. I think the second thing that I mentioned already is just the fact that technology is approachable, the technology is accessible, and there's a lot of stuff that we're going to do with technology. And I think the third thing is also, one thing that I see also is just the fact that, I mean, if you put yourself in the shoes of Accenture, and without being bragging about what we're doing, but we have the chance. I think we're fortunate, and I'm very humbled to say that, to serving the best clients in the world across all industry, all over the world. I mean, there's nothing more exciting, I would say. So you combine basically client ideas with the new generation thinking, plus all the technology which is accessible. If you combine all these things together, and the drive that we can bring, I think you can do something, I would say, like very magic.
With the knowledge of Davos, the 3 topics that I kept hearing at Davos was, and you probably heard the same, climate change, right? Data security or security in different subsets, and then the third was around upskilling. How are you seeing the influence and leadership that you can bring to help ensure that your children and children's children are going to actually be proud of the work that we're all doing today?
I think innovation comes also from dialogue, from collaboration, from meeting new people, understanding why they're doing that like this and not doing that like that. And that's basically how so again, learning, okay? And through learning, basically, you try to apply this to other environment, other industries and everything, which is something that we do pretty well. I mean, cross-industry application of technology. So that's one thing. I think the second thing is that you talk about the data and the fear of technology, and this is something that was at the center of the World Economic Forum, and in the privacy, cybersecurity, and how people will manage. Maybe I'm kind of, we're not living in a bisounours type of society today, and I understand that. But maybe I'm highly positive on this. I mean, there's a lot of work that we're doing within Accenture, which is related to responsible technology. So how you apply the technology in a responsible way. That means that how are we gonna, curate the data, how are we gonna leverage your data, how are we gonna share your data with partners, how we make sure that we have the same policies and the same standards and how we exchange those data. Ethical behavior, ethical usage of technology is gonna be at the centerpiece of new businesses that you want to develop further. The upskilling of your people, of your clients, it's going to be also very important. Why? Because, as we said, like technology is moving forward. I mean, as Paul says always, there's no end to innovation.
Yes.
It keeps moving on, and it's right. And I think it's good because if you're curious by nature, you love that because you want to learn more, and that's how you adapt. I mean, this is part of the Darwinism things. I mean, you need to adapt to changes, to evolutions. I think that's what Accenture has been doing for many years. That's what the lab's been doing for many years. That's what our people are doing for many years. And I think, this is what we need to do in a good way, in a very purposeful way.
Yeah, I'm really, from what I can see with the Futures program, that really is at the center of it, is the thoughtfulness around it too.
Yeah.
Obviously, your clients need to be profitable and they need to be secure. But again, it's the thoughtfulness around that we're very excited about working with you on that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Marc.
Thank you, Claire.
It's really wonderful.